Welcome to the Neuropreneur Rising podcast. If you're a coach or practitioner with ADHD or a busy brain that just doesn't ever seem to work with the norm, then you're in the right place. I'm your host, Polly Pollock, and in these episodes, I'm going to be teaching you how to get visible, create reputation online, and sell your signature offer predictably without social media. I'll teach you everything I've learned over the last decade about building a capacity-conscious, life-first, profitable business that's driven by human connection rather than trendy tactics that burn you out, all in a way that works hand in hand with your natural strengths. All right, let's dive in. All right, I am super excited to be getting into this episode with you today. So, but where to start, honestly? I've made a few notes, but I feel like I have so much to say from the heart on this kind of topic. And yeah, where to even start? I feel like when we go into business, we often are becoming more self-aware. We are maybe starting to notice things about ourselves that we didn't before. Maybe becoming frustrated with yourself about how you're handling situations, or, how you're feeling in certain situations, like kind of as it pertains to business and the things that we go through in business. And I feel like the more self-aware you get, the more you can recognize certain patterns, the more you can recognize certain struggles, and you can kind of know exactly what you struggle with the most. And you'll have certain things that you'll be like, yeah, that's like a thorn in my ass, and I just cannot seem to move past it, or I'm struggling, or it's taking me a little bit longer to move past it. And I think I know that so much of the results that we can expect to see in our business really are, of course, reflective of the strategies that we use, but are so reflective of our inner world and things that we can or cannot move past. And so, yeah, this episode is going to be about my top 5, I guess, most challenging lessons that coaches with ADHD in business need to be, I guess, initiated through in order to be sustainably successful and happy. This is the thing that I just want to tail end that with, and truly happy in business, not just successful on paper, because what is that if you're not happy in your inner world? Yeah, I have learnt so much since I became a business owner in general, but especially since I became a coach. Back when I had my first coaching business, I have learnt so much about how you will search and you'll search and you'll search, and you'll, especially if you're a high achieving kind of ambitious person, you'll try so hard to create that on the outer world, and you'll forget that your inner world even exists, and you'll forget that you have so much in you that will be, like I said, the make or break of where your business actually goes. So, yeah, like I said, these 5 things that I'm going to kind of go into are almost like, the way I see it is they're like quests that, I'm so sorry if you can hear that fucking background noise. It's so busy here today. Hopefully you can't. Hopefully my mic is good enough. But I see these as kind of like quests of almost like levels in a game that you need to complete and kind of get through in order to go to the next place in the game. And when you can't get past it, you'll kind of be put back to level 1, or maybe just taken down a peg, or maybe you kind of just scraped through it and you'll revisit that kind of obstacle at another level, whatever it is. But that's the way I kind of view these things. So the way we're going to do this is I'm going to count from 5 to number 1, and number 1 is going to be the most common one, or the most important one, that I think I see a lot of ADHDers in business needing to kind of get through. So it's going to go from least intense to most intense. So let's get on it. Let's get this countdown on the road. So I don't know why I always go, my accents, you guys, oh my gosh, probably have heard 10 accents on this podcast by now. So number 5 is integrity and holding your values. Oh my God. So this is a toughie, especially if you're someone who right now, or has done before, struggles with self-trust, as I think honestly most of us do in business. When you first start out, especially, you're going to struggle with self-trust until you really get that back, or you learn how to cultivate it. I never had self-trust, so it wasn't something I was getting back or something that I was, struggling with just from a business point. Like at the point that I went into business, I just never had self-trust before that. So that was something I literally had to cultivate from nothing. So integrity and holding your values. Really, people will, in business and in life, but in business, if you really want to grow to the level that you say you do, and again, I'm not talking about like you don't have to force yourself to want to be a billionaire. I'm just mean, have the impact that you really, really want to on the world and make great money. You're going to have to get used to the fact that people will want to challenge you and irk you and, at times make you feel like you shouldn't be trusting yourself, even when it's screaming at you, potentially ask you at times to abandon who you are for the sake of maybe making a quick buck in business or doing things a certain way. And the most important thing to do here is hold your own values and your own integrity first. Like, yes, there are always, always, always going to be things that will push your boundaries and push you out of your comfort zone, and you need to also be doing that and being aware of when that is something that you're being called to do. But you also need to know when to say, this is me, because as a coach, your clients also need you to do that. They need to see that behavior from you, otherwise they're going to potentially see someone who isn't embodied what they teach, and you also need to see yourself doing that so you can have more self-trust, if that makes sense, and then it becomes a compounding effect. So for example, let's go into this fear that like many new coaches have around being put on the spot, or when it comes to visibility especially, what if I get put on the spot, or what if I get asked a question that forces them essentially to answer with actual authenticity rather than talking solely about maybe like their methodology or the mechanism of what they do. They shit a fucking brick because like when yeah, look, you feel like that is more tied to you, and then the fear comes of, if I answer this quote unquote wrong, then people won't like that. Good. People will need to disagree with you or even misunderstand you so that your people can find you and resonate with you. And so getting really, really good at respectfully holding your values is going to put you above, honestly, the majority of this industry of coaches just repeating nice things. So we don't have to be a dick though. Like, we don't have to be like this ego maniac of like, I'm just going to say things because fuck it. It's like, no, just speak your truth, and hold your own, like I said, hold your own values, hold your own integrity, and be okay with some people not liking that. So number 4, a little bit of a different kind of vibe, but detachment from work. So the art of, maybe this is something you don't struggle with. Maybe it's something that you do. Sorry, just needed a drink. I see a pretty good split with this. Honestly, the majority of like people, for example, in my world, in NFSA, in the work that I do, most of my students tend to struggle with this more than not. Some are great, but the majority of my students will at the beginning kind of, and it's continuous work as well, will kind of struggle to detach from work. That's a natural thing in a lot of us ADHDers. So the art of detachment is something that you will likely have to go back to again and again and again, every level of growth. But what I mean by kind of detachment is knowing that you have a life outside of this business, and to not lose focus on the fact that your life actually comes first. And sometimes it just doesn't feel like that. But you might have the same kind of brain as me, like where you absolutely love your work and it's your pride and joy and it's literally your everything. And so it can feel, before you've kind of worked this little game out, it can feel like if you prioritize your life, then you're neglecting your business, but you're not. And when I talk about this, I'm not saying, when I say like your life comes first, I'm not saying like work 2 hours a day and then expect, a hugely successful business and then just do random stuff when you're not working 2 hours a day. I'm not saying that. I'm saying not to lose focus on the why behind you like starting this business. And I can almost guarantee that your why was so that you could create the life of your dreams, or a life of freedom, or a life where you don't feel like you're just wanting to stick fucking pins in your eyes because you're just doing shit that you don't want to do. believe me, that will not happen unless you learn early on enough that you got to have the balance. You need that shutdown routine at the end of the day, and on weekends work will still be there when you get back. And again, yeah, it's like don't stop checking your phone and like hunting for the dopamine. There is a lot of like nervous system and attachment work that actually needs to be done initially, especially for us ADHDers in business. I would go and look into attachment styles and that kind of attachment work, and you'll maybe even see some correlation between how you approach your business and how you approach other areas of your life, and that will kind of help you better understand like maybe why you feel like you're prone to. And this isn't like, oh my god, I have an anxious attachment style, I'm doomed forever and I'm going to be a shit business owner. Like, no. We just gonna, it's like I said before, it's that self-awareness of, why these things are coming up, and that helps you manage them better. It's not like you're pathologizing it and saying like, oh my god, it's chronic, I'm riddled with it and I can't make a change. Like, no, we don't. No, it's just that it helps to understand why you feel certain ways, because if you don't understand it, how can you help yourself through it? So go and look into that. I think that would be really helpful, is the attachment style side of things. So when you can kind of master the art of detaching from work, you can be way more resourced to A, be a better coach, and B, be a better business owner, rather than working yourself into the ground and literally having nothing left to give. Believe me, it's not fun. So number 3, instability. Oh god, instability is literally just one of those things that no one wants to experience. Who the fuck would? Like, I know some people who are like, yeah, I'm a free spirit, I actually love the instability, and I'm like, oh, but you are weird as fuck. No, if that's you, then that's awesome, but like, that's not me. I don't love the feeling of overall instability. Most people don't, right? And so we try to avoid it like the plague in literally all points of life. Think about how you were raised and how we were programmed as kids for a second. So, you're born, right? Mum pushes you out, whatever. You're born, you're into the world, and then you're like, okay, you're going to be put into school and you need to get good grades and you need to be stable. And then you're going to leave school and then you're going to go into a stable job. Then you're going to go into a stable marriage. Then you're going to go, into, doing things by the book, and it's all, you just need to be stable. And that's literally how the majority of us were raised, right? I remember, oh my God, I remember this, especially in my own teenhood, where I was kind of getting my first jobs. And there was this thing, I don't even know if 0-hour contracts are a thing anymore. I don't know. I haven't worked for someone in a very long time. But at the time, there were a lot of 0-hour contracts going around of the jobs that I was trying to get in, like sales and stuff like that. And what that meant was basically, I don't even remember what the actual definition of it was, but I'm pretty sure it's like, you just work when you're needed. It's a 0-hour contract. Like, you're not contracted to work any certain amount of hours, basically, and they'll just kind of give you hours as and when. But these were in jobs that were great for experience. And like I said, I was a teenager. Like, wasn't at that time, it would have been okay. But my parents were like, absolutely not. That's a 0-hour contract. You can't do that. And I'm like, but the pay is fucking great. And like the experience I would get. And they're like, no, it's not a full-time job. You can't do it. And obviously that was their way of kind of teaching me about the importance of stability and how you can't kind of fly by the seat of your pants. And like every parent does what they think is best, right? I'm not hating on the parenting styles, but it doesn't. Parents do a job of kind of helping you forge the path that's going to keep you safe, right? That's it. That's what they think their job is, and like every parent, that's what your job is, right? And every parent's perception of that will be different. However, we got to appreciate that the journey of entrepreneurship is not fucking normal. It's not the normal route. It's not the route that perhaps every parent who's raising us as kids will think, that seems like a safe route to send my kid down. Maybe now it's different, but that was kind of something that happened to me a little bit. with the stability, it was always stability, stability. You need to be stable. You need to be stable. And we're never encouraged to take risks. Like I said, risks are bad in the eyes of society, but what kind of picture do you think that paints for us going into business as we're older? There's a lot of shit that we have to then unpack and kind of create for ourselves, but especially as women as well, when we've kind of experienced this sort of chatter even more as young adults, like, should you be doing that? Like, can you really do that? It is a bit more prevalent and feels a bit more prevalent at times when you're a young girl or a young woman, and like I said, entrepreneurship is inherently fucking risky. Yes, there are absolutely like ways that you can mitigate the risk. Like, for example, what we focus on in NFSA, we will work on one signature offer, growing and stabilizing that. We look at how you can stack your revenue to make it sustainable. You can see what you've got coming in for kind of like 3, 6, maybe 12 months, depending on your business model. Once you've got coming in, but other than that, it feels risky. It is inherently risky. But the thing about risk is that it also yields the highest results when you can be strategic with it, stick to it, and essentially like be the stability yourself within this journey of, I can only do what I can do in terms of control and controlling it. Like, there are so many variables in business and you actually only control a small portion of that. You can say if something goes wrong, we build from it rather than this black and white perception of, oh, if something goes wrong, I failed, I fucked it, it's done. Like, it's done. It's being burnt to the ground. So really getting comfortable with the fact that instability is a normal thing in business and knowing how to actually ride that wave and not let it consume you. Like I said, there are strategic ways to mitigate the risk, but getting comfortable in yourself with the instability that you will not necessarily like experience all the time, but you'll feel a lot of the time before you learn to work with it. It's going to feel like some days you'll wake up and you'll be panicking over nothing, and like it's so much about your inner world as well, than just the outside. So instability, number 3. Number 2 patience. Okay. Oh my gosh. Patience is a big one. Waiting for the results of something, waiting for the payoff without jumping ship. I mean, this is one of the most challenging for many, many reasons, especially for us ADHDers. Whether you're waiting for like a potential client to get back to you, or maybe you've tried a new strategy and you're waiting to kind of see the results with that. We can be such impatient little motherfuckers with this. And by we, I also mean me. Like, this is a lesson that I'm learning all the time, over everything else. I've mastered a lot over the years in business, but this one, god damn, it crops up at the most inconvenient of times. And it's even when you feel like you're on a roll, and then it seems to pop up at every kind of level for me, like where every up level for me, whether that's like an income up level or a big change or a new project or something like that. I'll want that shit done yesterday, and I'll know that feeling is just, it's so parasitic is the only way I can describe it. But when I do get to reap the rewards of whatever I'm working on, it always feels so much better when I know that I've actually been patient and like embraced that limbo phase and held steady within myself. Because this is the thing, we cannot let our business be the decider of whether we're going to have a shit weekend because someone or an opportunity or whatever it is hasn't got back to us. We just can't. It's no way to live. And that's how my life used to be when I was in, especially like the first kind of a year or so in business. That's really what my life used to be like. It's no way to treat yourself. It's no way to live your life. It's like I said, it's parasitic. And patience is also a really hard thing for a lot of us ADHDers because of this, like, kind of bringing it a bit more into the into the brain side of things. It's time blindness. Being so like black and white just now, like it's we actually think in our brains that last week when we started this new project, that was actually 3 months ago, and why the fuck isn't anything moving? Like, why I started this thing 3 months ago, why is nothing happening? And then you look on your calendar and it's like, oh, I literally started this last week. It's anyone who has ADHD and struggles, like particularly with feeling like they're behind or the time blindness thing, or kind of like the two together, you'll know exactly what I'm talking about. I would say, like, this happens all the time with our brains. So the thing you can do for this is really just make sure you track things, track when you started things, so you can just look back when you're feeling that kind of sense of impatience. The best thing you can do is just look back and be like, oh man, I literally started this last week. Like, chill the fuck out. It's okay. It's not gonna be the end of the world. Like, you need to just be a little bit nicer to yourself here, and you can just like remind yourself, because really, and if you have been feeling like that and you haven't tracked kind of when you started something or whatever it is, whether that's a project or something that you're feeling should have been paying off by now, I swear, just go and have a look back at when you started this new kind of thing, and you'll be like, oh, my bad. Okay, so drum roll, please. Let me have a drink. Drum roll, please. Can you guess what our number one is going to be? Have a little guess. So, what major thing do you kind of struggle with that I have not gone over yet? See if you can get it. It's not that I can hear you or anything, but I wonder how many of you will guess it right. Okay, so number one, the big one, being okay with rejection. Oh my God, rejection can feel awful. And as ADHDers, we are, of course, more prone to being sensitive to rejection. You know, it can make every bad email or unsavory response or even like delay feels like, everybody hates you and you're an awful person, when in reality, people are just busy. Maybe it's not the right fit. Maybe it's not the right time. Maybe you just caught someone on a bad day. Rejection is single-handedly the most important part of business growth above anything else. You literally cannot grow your business to any kind of substantial level without rejection. It's not possible. It's physically not possible. You can avoid rejection and you can keep telling yourself that it's this thing that has this like mad power over you, and then you can stay where you are, or you can stay kind of fly below the radar and have like an okay business that kind of doesn't really make you feel fulfilled and doesn't grow. But I'm not here to help you build that, so maybe let's not. Just a thought. So I used to hate the feeling of any kind of rejection, However, it's kind of weird how much I embrace it, because I welcome it. It's actually kind of a little bit nuts, how much I welcome rejection now, because I think I've experienced the growth that comes with it, like business wise. I'm the kind of person that, to be so honest, like if I don't see something, and this is just how the brain works, as humans, we need evidence to create confidence, and we need to see something working. And I'm very much that kind of person, hence why I'm so hot on strategy. And I think that's really why I'm so welcoming to rejection, because I've seen where being rejected and putting myself on the line and putting myself out there, even though I know I will at times get rejected, I've seen the kind of growth that has brought me in personally and in my business. And yeah, like I said, both from a business perspective and me. And also it helps me kind of bypass all of the shit that I have to try and manually work out about what's a fit, what's not a fit, where I need to go, who I need to try and focus more on, etc. Like, you need rejection, because without rejection you will not grow. And so I think with this lesson of kind of being okay with rejection, it's really about baby steps of putting yourself in, the firing line of rejection or whatever, or your perceived rejection, because a lot of the time it's perceived rejection. It's not even that you're being rejected. It's like I said, now, like how I experience rejection now, I don't experience it as rejection. I experience it as a tool, if that makes sense. And so I don't call it or feel it like it's that initial rejection that I used to feel. So with this lesson, it's about reframing the place that rejection kind of has in your life and in your business. Oh, goddamn. So that's my top 5, and there you have it. So let me know how this landed for you. I really feel, and I see this time and time again with students, this is how I experience it myself. These are really the things that will be, like I said at the beginning of this episode, a make or break of whether you will be able to run a business that, yes, is successful on paper, but also makes you happy. And mastering these things, like I said, is not a linear thing. It's not like I'm pretending here to be fucking sat here like some guru, like, "Oh, I've mastered all of these and now I'm gonna," no way. Like I said, the patience one, oh my god, that is, like I said, that is a thorn in my ass. But we'll have to work through elements of all of these at every level of growth, because that's naturally what happens every time you expand. It's not just at the beginning. So it's a process for sure. So I hope that helped you shift a few things in the perspective of how you kind of view this whole game of entrepreneurship. It can be fun if you let it. It can be like a quest. And like I said, NFSA, the Neuro-Friendly Sales Accelerator, is still open with a few spaces left before I'm at capacity. My NFSA is my signature 4-month marketing mentorship program for coaches and practitioners with ADHD who really want to be able to learn how to get visible, sell their signature offer on repeat without relying on social media. So if that is you, then this is for you. So come and book a discovery call with me. We will have a little chit chat about what's been going on for you, what you've been trying, where you really want to get to, and we can just go over some details to see whether NFSA is potentially the right fit for you to move into to get you where you want to be. So link is in the show notes for that, and I will see you in the next one. Alright guys, that is a wrap for today, and if you loved this episode, I would be so grateful if you could leave a review and maybe even share it with a business buddy who you think would really get something from it too. It really does make a huge difference. The more reviews and shares, etc., that this podcast gets, the more it gets pushed out to other creative, brilliant, neurospicy business owners who really need to hear this stuff. And honestly, I just want more people like you to know that success does not have to look the way that we've been told it does. So the more you help me get this into the right hands, the better. And if you're ready to take things a step further and get some real support, just head to the description and you'll find the link to the Neuro-Friendly Sales Accelerator, which is my 4-month signature marketing coaching program for neurodivergent entrepreneurs. From there, you'll be able to book a free strategy call with me. We'll have a chat to see where you are and see if it's the right fit, and we will go from there. All right, see you in the next one.